300,000 for the bride price. Not a penny less. The woman shrieked, her voice shattering the last shred of dignity in the small, impoverished home. And another 50,000 for the jewelry. If you can't afford it, the wedding is off. Finn, my best friend since childhood, collapsed at the table, his body shaking with sobs of utter helplessness. His mother's face was ashen. His fiancée ran from the house in tears. Their future was being destroyed over a sum they could never hope to pay. I wiped my mouth, pushed my chair back, and smiled. It's just money. What's the big deal? They all stared at me. To them, I was just Liam Lynn, their old friend, the failed son-in-law who'd been humiliated and kicked out of his own wedding years ago. I looked my broken friend in the eye. Your richest friend is sitting right here, and you need your mom to sell her house? Let me ask you one thing. My voice dropped, low and cold with a power they couldn't possibly comprehend. How much do you need? As long as you dare to ask, I dare to give. 1 hour later, I pointed to the most expensive penthouse in the city's most exclusive district. That one. We'll take it. I tossed the keys to a brand new Mercedes S-Class at Finn. A gift. Don't embarrass me by telling people you're my brother. They think I'm just a loyal friend with a stroke of luck. They have no idea they are looking at the hidden emperor of Phoenix Group, a multi-billion-dollar empire built from nothing. And they have no idea that at this very moment, my rivals are executing a conspiracy of fake drugs and media slander so vicious it could not only destroy my company, but send me to prison for life. Let them come. I've just started my reckoning. When Liam and Chloe opened the door to their home, arms laden with bags, they were greeted by the rich aroma of food and the warmth of family. Caleb and Penny were already there. In the center of the dining table sat an exquisite cake. A line of chocolate script on the transparent box was clearly visible. To Chloe and Liam, 100 years of happiness. The simple blessing warmed Liam's heart. He remembered that the cake Caleb had ordered for their first wedding had the exact same words. His sharp-tongued but soft-hearted brother-in-law had finally accepted him in his own way. The smiles on Aaron and Lydia's faces were radiant. During the meal, Penny excitedly scrolled through her phone, telling Chloe that thanks to the epic proposal, her TikTok followers had surpassed 6 million, making her a bona fide influencer. My wife is that amazing. Liam feigned surprise, then declared Budog. You are the esteemed vice president of Phoenix Pharmaceuticals. You are not allowed to show your face doing some live streaming sales. Chloe giggled at his feigned nervousness, tilting her chin proudly. You never know. If you dare treat me poorly, I'll run away with Sophie. We'll do just fine selling things online. My lady, I'm begging you. Anyone who makes me treat you poorly might as well just kill me. Liam surrendered with his hands up, drawing laughter from the whole table. As the meal went on, with everyone basking in this hard-won happiness, Liam raised his glass. He spoke solemnly to Aaron and Lydia. Dad, Mom, with the new year approaching, you can't stay here anymore. I've set aside an apartment for you at Violet Gold Manor, and I've also prepared a new home for Caleb and Penny. From now on, our family will live together. The news was like a stone dropped into a calm lake. Both couples were stunned. A mansion at Violet Gold Manor, worth tens of millions. Liam had not only given one to his in-laws, but had also thoughtfully provided for his brother-in-law. This was more than a material gift. It was a sincere declaration that he had fully integrated them into his life. Finally, under Liam's half-joking, half-threatening invitation, Caleb dropped all pretense. The brother-in-law who had once scowled at him now looked up with a resigned smile. You're my brother-in-law anyway. Listening to you isn't so bad. Aaron and Caleb both drank too much, one slurring praises for his son-in-law's success, the other challenging Liam to drinking games and losing spectacularly before passing out on the bed. In the living room, only the three women and a still-sober Liam remained. He made an excuse to smoke and went into the kitchen. The moment he turned on the range hood, his eyes were drawn to something in the corner behind the door. It was a beautifully wrapped bouquet of flowers. Next to it was a trash can, and inside, scattered pieces of a torn-up card. Liam's brow furrowed imperceptibly. He picked up the largest torn piece. On it, 2 words were written, Chloe Chun. His expression instantly turned to ice. Felix Fong, he thought to himself. The kitchen door was suddenly pushed open. A drunk Aaron stumbled in asking for a cigarette, followed by a flustered Lydia, who instinctively stood in front of the flowers, trying to block them with her body. Hurry up and get out after you're done smoking. We need to do the dishes. Lydia's urging was a poor attempt at concealment. Liam smiled, a smile without a trace of warmth. He stubbed out his cigarette, walked over to Lydia, took the bouquet from behind her, and tossed it into the trash. Mom, you don't have to hide it. I saw it as soon as I came in. Lydia's expression shifted, finally settling into a sigh. Felix brought them this morning. We told him you two were remarrying today, but he didn't seem to believe it. Liam, I know you two are doing great now. You should find some time to tell him yourself. When Liam walked out of the kitchen, Chloe immediately sensed the change in atmosphere. When she learned that Felix had come by again, her brow furrowed. What on earth does he want? What else? He just can't give up on you. Liam's voice was calm, but Chloe detected a dangerous undercurrent. Oh, Is our great boss Liam jealous? Chloe suddenly smiled, trying to lighten the mood. Of course, Liam's eyes were sharp as knives. In this world, besides me, I won't allow any other man to have any ideas about you. He looked at Chloe and said, word by word, you don't need to worry about it. I'll personally go and teach that son of a bitch a lesson. The name Felix Fong was like a thorn in Liam's side. Jenna Zhao's graceful retreat only highlighted Felix Fong's shameless persistence. The fact that Felix Fong had bypassed Chloe to try and win over her parents was, in Liam's view, both despicable and foolish. Liam cherished Chloe as his own life, and any covetous gaze was a direct provocation. It was a nauseating feeling, like finding a fly in your cake, and it instantly ruined all the joy of his remarriage. What are you going to do? Chloe asked, worried by Liam's dark expression. We live in a society with laws. Don't ruin your image over something so trivial. I'm just going to have a little chat with him. Liam's voice was thick with suppressed jealousy and cold anger. To his surprise, his usually gentle mother-in-law, Lydia, spoke up. Chloe, if you tell him, he won't believe you. Let Liam go talk to him. You're a legally married couple now. Having another man constantly thinking about you worries your father, and me too. His mother-in-law's support was like pouring gasoline on Liam's fire. Liam knew that for a pest like Felix, the most direct approach was necessary to make him give up for good. At 3 in the afternoon, they prepared to head back to the office. When the fiery red Rolls-Royce Cullinan, like a burning flame, pulled up downstairs, Aaron and Lydia's eyes widened. When they learned from Penny that the car cost nearly $10 million, Lydia's scolding was immediate. You two really have more money than you know what to do with. Chloe likes it. I'd buy her 10 of them. Liam's reply was both badaw and deeply affectionate. As they watched the Cullinan drive away, the scolding on Lydia's face had already melted into profound relief. Her daughter had truly bet on the right man. The atmosphere back at the Phoenix Pharmaceuticals office, however, was a stark contrast to the warmth of the journey. It was a feverish mix of ecstasy and anxiety. Before they even reached the door, they could hear Victor Zhang's signature booming laughter echoing down the hall. Inside, even Hugo Han's usually calm face was beaming with unrestrained excitement. CEO Lin, CEO Chun, come and see this. Liam's gaze fell on the computer screen. The sales number had turned into a glaring string of red digits. 19,886. Nearly 20,000 boxes? Chloe's beautiful eyes sparkled with surprise. That's right. Hugo's voice was electric. CEO Lin, you're a genius. At noon, we had sold less than 2,000 boxes. But starting from 1 in the afternoon, the sales just skyrocketed. However, the bubble of joy was quickly pierced by reality. Hugo played a short video from a major influencer with nearly 10 million followers. In the video, the influencer used his own experience to verify the powerful effects of the miracle flu drug. But the comment section below had become a different kind of battlefield. Rapid relief granules work just as well. I always use those. How much did Phoenix Pharmaceuticals pay you to shill this hard? Videos can be edited. Who knows if it's real? The seemingly ordinary comments revealed a well-trained, organized effort. Liam's expression turned cold. He recognized Rapid Relief Granules as a flagship product of Greenleaf Pharma. It was clear that an online attack against Phoenix Pharmaceuticals had quietly begun. This is common in business competition, Hugo said grimly. I've never liked being passive. Liam's fingers tapped lightly on the desk. He ignored the slander and clicked on another comment. It was from an ordinary user named Oh My Mom. She testified for the drug in the comments, and on her profile page was a complete video documenting her child's recovery from a high fever. The video's production quality was far from the influencers, but it radiated an undeniable authenticity and power. Liam's eyes lit up. He looked at Chloe, who spoke at almost the same time. We can do what we did with the pill shape contest. Just copy the same model. Exactly. Liam snapped his fingers. You know me best, my dear Chloe. What we need to do is encourage the patients who were actually cured to stand up and testify for us. But, won't the authorities label that as unfair competition? Hugo voiced his concern. What's unfair about it? Liam stood up, clapping a heavy hand on Hugo's shoulder, his voice firm. Our product is unrivaled, and our methods don't cross any legal lines. Hugo, this is China, and this is Phoenix Pharmaceuticals, not some foreign company where you have to walk on eggshells. You go out there and do what you need to do. If anything goes wrong, I, Liam Lin, will take the fall. His words were like a shot of adrenaline, instantly dispelling all of Hugo's doubts. Hugo looked at Liam, a man so much younger than himself, and saw an unparalleled confidence and ambition burning in Liam's eyes. Hugo knew a fiercer storm was coming, and they were standing right in its eye. Liam temporarily pushed aside the disgust brought on by the pest, Felix Fong. Right now, in the offices of Phoenix Pharmaceuticals, a war for their product's reputation was underway. Facing the online tide of paid trolls and malicious slander, Chloe and Hugo quickly devised a textbook counterattack. We're going to release 3 videos, Chloe announced, standing before a large digital whiteboard, her expression calm and focused. First, we'll publicize parts of our production process, from raw material intake to sterile packaging, to show everyone our rigor and professionalism. Second, we'll announce our current inventory and production capacity to make it clear we're not engaging in scarcity marketing, but are genuinely struggling to meet demand. Third, and most crucial, we'll launch a nationwide call for user testimonial videos. We'll drown out their fake slander with millions of real voices. This people's war, aimed at establishing absolute public trust, ignited a fire in everyone in the office. Victor Zhang, in particular, was buzzing. After witnessing his creation take the market by storm, his long-suppressed creativity burst forth. CEO Lin, CEO Chun, he exclaimed, patting his chest, his eyes shining with genius. The miracle flu drug is just the beginning. The miracle foot cream I'm developing is in its final stages. I guarantee, one application, and it won't recur for at least 2 years. No recurrence for 2 years. Those words made Liam, Chloe, and Hugo catch their breath. They knew exactly what that meant. This wasn't just treatment. It was practically a cure. The future of Phoenix Pharmaceuticals wasn't just one miracle drug, but an R&D empire that would continuously produce miracles. I can have it ready by the end of the year, at the latest. Victor's promise added more fuel to the already blazing fire of the afternoon. Just then, marketing director Walter Wong burst in, his face flush with an excitement he couldn't contain. CEO Lin, we've got the feedback from the major pharmacies. The stock we distributed is basically all sold out. He handed over a thick stack of papers. The dense columns of sales data were the most direct proof of their victory. Liam's eyes scanned the familiar yet now distant names of the pharmacies, a cold smile touching his lips. What do they want? More stock? Yes, they're all hoping we can. Tell them. Liam cut Walter off, his voice quiet but firm with decision. Virtue Pharmacy and Violet Light Pharma can get an extra 10%. Wellness Pharmacy can have 30% more. As for the rest, stick strictly to the contract. Not a single extra box. They looked down on us before. Now, they can watch someone else make the money. Walter felt a chill. He knew Liam's reckoning had begun. Also, 3 hospitals have contacted us, Walter added. They've changed their terms. They're willing to pay up front now. Good. Liam nodded, showing no particular joy. Tell them Phoenix Pharmaceuticals is currently facing production constraints, and they'll have to wait. There are over 30 official hospitals in Azure Bay City, and only 3 have called so far. We're in no rush. This almost arrogant confidence made everyone present feel the full force of Liam's control. He wasn't just going to win. He was going to win in a way that left no room for doubt. As this business storm swept through the city, Liam's phone rang. The caller ID read Grandpa. Kid, dropping the price from $219 to $169. That was a beautiful move. Walter Zhou's hearty laughter came through the phone. As long as you're satisfied, sir. My satisfaction doesn't matter. What's important is that you're not losing money. Walter's tone shifted. About those bodyguards I mentioned. Do you have time now? Come over and meet some people. After hanging up, a strange feeling washed over Liam. He asked Chloe to turn the car around. The fiery red Cullinan made a graceful arc and headed towards the heavily guarded Zhou family estate on the outskirts of the city. In the evening, the Zhou estate was quiet and dignified. Walter was sitting at a stone table in the courtyard, leisurely brewing tea. Across from him sat 5 people, 3 men and 2 women. They sat ramrod straight, their expressions serious, emanating a sharp intensity that was completely at odds with the tranquil courtyard. They were like 5 blades with their edges sheathed. You're here. Walter smiled and beckoned, pouring hot tea for Liam and Chloe. He then gestured towards the 5 individuals and introduced them casually. These are Owen Yuan, Brooke Zhou, Luke Jun, Evan He, and Adrian Zhao. After brief introductions, Walter picked up his teacup, blew on the steam, and looked at Liam. I'll be direct with you, he said slowly. Have you ever heard of the Black Eagle Commando Unit? Those last 5 words exploded in Liam's mind like a thunderclap. Of course, he had. That wasn't an ordinary military unit. It was the absolute elite of the nation's special forces, the country's sharpest blade, forged in mountains of corpses and seas of blood. In the courtyard of the Zhou residence, the evening breeze was cool, and the aroma of tea filled the air. When Walter Zhou uttered the words, Black Eagle Commando Unit, Liam's heart skipped a beat. He knew Walter hadn't just found him ordinary bodyguards, but true blades of the nation, forged in the crucible of real combat. Under normal circumstances, they would never work as bodyguards for anyone, Walter said slowly. But they've been discharged for various reasons and are now at the peak of their physical and experiential abilities. I found the people for you. The rest, you can discuss among yourselves. Liam's gaze swept across the 5 resolute faces. He sensed none of the wildness of mercenaries, only the steady loyalty characteristic of soldiers. Without hesitation, he stated his terms. The Phoenix Group will establish a security department. You 5 will be the first core members. Annual salary, $1 million. Other benefits will be the same as all other employees. $1 million salary. Shock flickered in the eyes of all 5. For soldiers from ordinary backgrounds, facing an uncertain future after retirement. This was an astronomical sum. I trust your abilities, and I believe you're worth this price. Liam's tone was decisive. I have only one request. Bring in your trusted comrades as soon as possible. I need to protect not only myself, but also my family. The deal was struck quickly, in an atmosphere of mutual trust. As Liam and Chloe prepared to leave, Walter emerged from an inner room with a red envelope and pressed it into their hands. I know you two remarried today. This old man didn't prepare much, just a little something. Unable to refuse, Liam accepted it. Once in the car, he opened it to find 10 crisp 100 yuan bills. 1,000 yuan was nothing to Liam now, but this simple blessing from an elder felt heavier and warmer than any mountain of gold. On the way back to Violet Gold Manor, a white Buick van followed them at a respectful distance. Seeing its lights in his rearview mirror, Liam felt an unprecedented sense of security for the first time. In the elevator, he held Chloe and whispered in her ear, "Honey, we should have a second child. Get away from me, with your preference for sons," Chloe said, swatting him playfully, but a happy blush colored her cheeks. Dinner was spent under the eager gazes of Aaron and Felicity. When they saw the two red marriage certificates, genuine, relieved smiles spread across their faces. Felicity held Chloe's hand, her eyes glistening. "Chloe, I've always felt in my heart that no matter how much money that rascal Liam makes, it can't compare to having you in this family." The meal was warm and complete. The only thing Liam noticed was that Clara and Ethan were both absent. When he asked, Felicity told him worriedly that Clara seemed to have gone on a date with that big boss, Nico Hong. "She's dating again?" Liam's eyes widened, and he immediately placed a video call to Nico. On the screen, Nico was bruised and panting, with Clara's anxious voice in the background. It turned out they had been mugged during dinner, and Nico had gotten into a fight to protect a mother and her child. "Brother, don't talk nonsense. I would never be with him," Clara denied vehemently in the video, flustered and indignant, but the concern hidden beneath her scolding was impossible to miss. At 9 o'clock, Clara returned home alone. Liam sat in the living room like a father interrogating a suspect and called her over. "Seriously, if you have no feelings for Nico at all, I'll talk to him. Let's not waste both of your time." Clara looked down, her cheeks crimson, her voice as soft as a whisper. "You have so much going on at the company, just focus on that. Don't worry about me." Her evasive attitude told Liam everything he needed to know. Just as he was about to give his little sister a lecture on matters of the heart, Clara, in a desperate attempt to change the subject, dropped a bombshell. "Brother, stop worrying about my stuff. If you have this much free time, you should be helping Ethan figure things out." "Ethan? What's wrong with him?" "You don't know?" Clara looked surprised. "He has a crush on that administrative director at your company. I think her name is Irene Sheen." Liam was completely stunned. He felt like he hadn't been having dinner, but rather running frantically through a field of gossip. He hadn't even sorted out his sister's love life, and now his brother was playing out a drama of young, clueless guy has a secret crush on the sophisticated career woman. This was going to be a much bigger headache than managing a multi-billion-dollar business. Clara's bombshell, "He has a crush on Irene Sheen," exploded in Liam's mind. He stumbled back to the bedroom in a daze, feeling as if he had just navigated his sister's emotional tug-of-war only to dive headfirst into his brother's unrequited love maze. He, the chairman of the mighty Phoenix Group, felt more like a beleaguered father worried sick over his children's romantic entanglements. "You know, they'd actually make a good couple," Chloe commented with great interest upon hearing the news, completely oblivious to Liam's tormented expression. The next morning at 8, when Liam and Chloe stepped into Phoenix Pharmaceuticals, they were hit by a wave of feverish energy. Hugo Hahn's face was alight with an almost manic excitement. He intercepted Liam, his voice trembling. "Old Lin, it's all gone. The 200,000 boxes online, all sold out overnight. We have zero inventory. The delivery guys at JD are going crazy." The video submission contest that Chloe had personally launched the day before had completely detonated public opinion. A flood of authentic videos from ordinary users had formed an unstoppable torrent of positive word of mouth, washing away all doubts and slander. Just then, the front desk called with a piece of news that made Liam's lips curl into a smile. The heads of Total Health, Brightwell, Celestial Apothecary, and Wellness Pharmacy. They're on their way here. "Oh," Liam's eyes glinted. "Excellent. This is excellent." At 9 o'clock, the atmosphere in Liam's office was delicate. Zhang Zhang of Total Health, Fin Lin of Brightwell, and two other titans of the Donglin province pharmaceutical world sat stiffly, their faces plastered with humble, yet slightly awkward smiles. "CEO Lin, this is the first time I've met you in person. I've only seen you in videos before. I've admired you from afar, and it's an honor to finally meet you." Fin Lin was the first to break the silence, attempting to ease the tension with familiarity. "Actually, you had a chance to see me in person during the video conference," Liam replied mildly, picking up his teacup. "But you didn't show up." His single sentence made the smile on Fin Lin's face freeze. The others quickly chimed in, their words earnest, their praise lavish, extolling Liam's character and the strength of Phoenix Pharmaceuticals to the heavens. Their core objective was singular, to secure a larger partnership and get more of the miracle flu drug. Liam listened quietly until they were finished, then slowly set his teacup down with a soft click. Are you all finished? He looked around the room, his smile gentle, but his eyes sharp as daggers. During that video conference, you either didn't show up, or you came full of skepticism. Now that the drug is a blockbuster, you come running, hoping for a win-win situation? I'm sorry, I don't have many virtues, but holding a grudge is one of them. Let me put it this way. Liam stood up and walked to the massive floor-to-ceiling window, looking down at the industrial park he had built. With the efficacy of this drug, I could support even the smallest pharmacy and help it grow rapidly. Opening up a market isn't about your distribution channels. It's about the competitiveness of the product itself. In the beginning, Phoenix Pharmaceuticals just needed a chance to be seen. But you couldn't even be bothered to give us a full display counter. I'll say it again. We can continue to cooperate, but everything will be done strictly according to the contract. For the next 6 months, this will still generate enormous profits for you. But if any of you feel it's not suitable, you can terminate the contract at any time. And Phoenix Pharmaceuticals will not pay a single cent in breach of contract fees, because you were the ones who breached it first. Show them out. Liam's final words were like a final judgment, shattering all of their remaining hopes. After they left, dejected, Hugo jumped up in excitement. That was awesome, old Lynn. How are you so good at shutting people down? By the way, Hugo added with a grin, a few of us brothers registered a company. It's called the Four Geniuses. We're planning to get into the pharmacy business. The Four Geniuses? Chloe asked, curious. What does that mean? The four great literary talents, of course. Hugo said, as if it were obvious. Me, Nico, Leo Lee, and Dexter. Aren't we the four geniuses? Liam and Chloe exchanged a look, both at a loss for whether to laugh or cry. It seemed there was no cure for their friend's terminal case of thinking they were the main characters in a story. After sending off the gloomy pharmacy heads, the air in the office felt significantly lighter. Without pausing, Liam initiated another video conference. Only 3 familiar faces appeared on the screen. Leon Lee of Virtue Pharmacy, Annie Wong of Violet Light Pharma, and Ian Yen of Wellness Pharmacy. The executives from Total Health were just here. Liam's opening line instantly made the expressions of the 3 individuals on screen turn complex. They hope Phoenix Pharmaceuticals will engage in a comprehensive, nationwide partnership, Liam continued, his gaze calm as he watched them. CEO Lin. Annie Wong of Violet Light Pharma was the first to speak, her tone sincere. Actually, our headquarters also held an emergency meeting yesterday. They hoped I could represent Violet Light to discuss a national partnership with you. Liam smiled. This was exactly the effect he wanted. There's no need for any of you to worry, his voice softened. Phoenix Pharmaceuticals has already supplied you with more than our contract requires. That in itself should show you my attitude. I have the virtue of holding a grudge, but I also have the flaw of repaying kindness. While our partnership isn't exactly a kindness, I remember your initial attitude. He explained his strategy of prioritizing hospitals and promised deeper cooperation once production capacity increased. These candid words completely solidified the loyalty of his 3 key allies. After the meeting, Hugo Han came in with the latest data, unable to hide his excitement. Old Lin, we've been contacted by 19 hospitals now. All official state hospitals. They've agreed to all our terms, payment up front, and they'll take whatever we can supply. We have completely seized control. The victory horns had sounded, but Liam was already looking further ahead. Hugo, since the miracle flu drug will eventually go international, we need to consider overseas pricing ahead of time. Overseas pricing? Hugo's expression grew serious. What are you planning? Is there even a need to consider it? A cold smirk played on Liam's lips. It's true I want to be a good person, but I only want to be a good person for the people of this country. I don't mind earning a little less from my own people. But as for those guys overseas, if I earn less from them, do you think they'll remember my kindness? His words instantly ignited something in Hugo. He slapped his thigh, his voice full of excitement. Well said. When I was at Trident International, I had enough of their condescending attitudes. Now that we finally have the upper hand in the pharmaceutical field, why should we sell it to them cheap? We'll set the price as high as we can. Let them get a taste of what exorbitant drug prices feel like. That's the plan. Liam's eyes were as hard as iron. Let them spit back every last cent they've earned off our compatriots over the years, with interest. The topic of export trade inevitably led to Jenna Zhao of Trident International. Under Chloe's teasing gaze, Liam, eager to prove his innocence, decided to handle another tricky personal matter. He knocked on the door of the administrative director, Irene Sheen. Irene was as elegant and capable as ever, a hint of confusion in her eyes at seeing Liam in person. Liam cleared his throat, put on what he thought was a profound expression, and sat down. Director Sheen, is there anything you'd like to tell me? CEO Lin, what do you mean? Irene was completely baffled. About Ethan. Ethan? From the lab? Does he have anything to do with me? Her expression was one of pure, unfeigned confusion. Liam's heart sank. He felt like a blundering father who had charged onto the battlefield with faulty intelligence. Isn't he pursuing you? Pursuing me? Irene's beautiful eyes widened. Then she didn't know whether to laugh or cry. CEO Lin, please don't spread rumors like that. We've barely spoken a few sentences to each other. How could he possibly be pursuing me? It was over. His sister Clara had sold him out. An indescribable wave of embarrassment shot from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. Fighting the urge to find a hole to crawl into, he forced himself to awkwardly play the matchmaker. Well, my brother, you see, he's a very good person, just a little shy. After escaping from Irene's office, Liam headed straight for the R&D department. In Victor Zhang's office, he found the culprit who had caused him such loss of face. Brother, you were looking for me? Ethan had changed out of his sterile suit and was now in a crisp business suit, his hair neatly styled, a hint of youthful innocence on his handsome face. I hear you have someone you're interested in. Liam cut straight to the chase. Ethan's face flushed crimson, his eyes darting around like a teenager whose secret had been exposed. Who is it? Just say it. Liam's face hardened, assuming the authority of an elder brother. You're a man. If you can't even be straightforward about liking someone, what's the point of even trying to date? Under Liam's interrogation, Ethan finally admitted he liked Irene, but felt insecure due to her powerful aura and their age difference, so he hadn't made a move. Nonsense. Liam smacked him on the back of the head. I gambled away your wedding fund years ago, and I didn't see you being this cowardly. The stronger a woman appears on the outside, the softer she is on the inside. If you really like her, then pursue her openly. If you don't have enough money, I'll give it to you. If anything goes wrong, I'll have your back. Now, show some damn courage. The scolding left Ethan red-faced, but it also fired him up. He looked at his older brother, and the timidity and hesitation in his eyes were finally replaced by an unprecedented resolve. Okay, brother. I get it. January 3rd. The New Year's holiday was over, and the nationwide severe flu outbreak quietly reached its peak. Hospitals were overwhelmed, pharmacy doors were battered down, and the name Phoenix Pharmaceuticals became famous overnight thanks to the miracle of Xiaoyu's miracle flu drug. After handling several urgent matters concerning production capacity and new product development, Liam gazed out the window. His business empire was now stable. It was time to clean up some personal trash. Dasheen Tower, first floor lobby. Liam walked calmly to the front desk, a warm smile on his face. However, the men standing ramrod straight behind him, their presence calm yet imposing, seemed to freeze the air in the entire lobby. They were Adrian Zhao and the comrades he had gathered, former members of the Black Eagle Commando Unit, now the core of the Phoenix Group's security department. Is Mr. Fong it? Do you have an appointment, sir? The receptionist's voice held a trace of nervousness. No. Liam's smile didn't waver. Liam Lin, Phoenix Pharmaceuticals. The receptionist's face instantly went pale. She recognized the man who had turned the entire city of Azure Bay on its head. After a brief phone call, she said apologetically, I'm sorry, CEO Lin, but Mr. Fong is in a meeting and doesn't have time for visitors. Is that so? The smile on Liam's face receded like a tide, replaced by an icy indifference. Without another word, he walked straight towards the elevators. CEO Lin. CEO Lin. The receptionist and security guards rushed to block him. You can't do this. You'll make things very difficult for him. If it's difficult, then he shouldn't be in business. Liam's cold gaze swept over them, making the receptionist feel as if she'd been plunged into an icy cavern. Adrian Zhao and his men stepped forward. With two simple restraining moves, they neutralized the two security guards, leaving their arms numb and useless. The elevator doors opened. 26th floor, Stellar Group. To the astonishment of the employees, Liam strode through the office as if he owned the place and threw open the doors to the conference room. Inside the dim room, Felix Fong was in the middle of a passionate speech in front of a projection screen. The sudden slam of the door choked the words in his throat. He saw Liam, the last person on Earth he wanted to see. Before anyone could react, Liam had already strode forward and delivered a vicious kick straight to Felix's stomach. Felix flew backward like a broken kite, crashing over a row of chairs. The entire conference room fell into a dead silence. What are you doing? The Stellar Group executives were both shocked and furious. Apologies for the interruption. Liam smiled, as if he had just done something trivial. I'll just say a few words and be on my way. If anyone's in a hurry, you're free to leave. He walked over to Felix, slowly pulled the red marriage certificate from his coat pocket, and threw it in his face. Did I or did I not tell you that Chloe and I would be remarrying soon, and that you should stop harassing her? Felix stared at the glaring red booklet, his anger boiling over. After how you treated Chloe before, I don't believe she would ever truly agree to be with you. So what are you implying? That Chloe only agreed because I have money now? Yes. You used your money to win over her family. Felix roared. You son of a bitch. That vicious accusation completely ignited Liam's fury. He lunged forward, pinning Felix to the ground, his fists raining down like hailstones. Chloe is my wife, and Sophie is my daughter. You can think whatever you want about me, but if you dare to make malicious assumptions about them, I will end you. Do you understand? Call the police. I'm calling the police. Felix shrieked, his face a bloody mess. The police arrived quickly. The lead officer, Sue E., frowned at the sight of Felix's injuries, but his next actions showed a blatant bias. Without asking any questions, he immediately labeled Felix as the victim and even prepared to handcuff Liam. It seems Officers Sue and Mr. Fong here already know each other. Liam's eyes turned cold. You exhibit severe violent tendencies. For safety, I have to handcuff you first, Sue E. said self-righteously, pulling out his handcuffs. Just as the cold silver was about to clamp onto Liam's wrist, he suddenly smiled, a smile full of contempt and pity. You've got some nerve, he said to Sue E., then turned to Adrian Zhao beside him. Before I leave this conference room, I want to hear his phone ring. Adrian immediately dialed a number. The conference room became eerily quiet. 2 minutes later, a shrill ringtone suddenly burst from Sue Yi's pocket. He looked at the unknown number, a sense of dread washing over him, and answered with a trembling hand. A commanding, icy voice came from the receiver. Are you Sue Yi? This is Logan Lee, from the Azure Bay City Police Headquarters. The conference room at Dasheen Tower was a mess. On Officer Sue Yi's face, which had cycled through white, green, and purple, Liam saw the collapse of power. He patted the officer's shoulder, his voice calm but icy. Sorry, but based on what you've done today, even if I don't go down to the station, you won't be keeping that badge. He walked over to Felix, picked up the marriage certificate from the floor, and put it back in his pocket. His eyes held no victorious glee, only the indifference of a matter settled. Felix, you remember this. This is my last warning. If there's a next time, I won't use violence. I'll just collect evidence and take you to court. With that, he and Adrian Zhao's team walked out, leaving under the awestruck gazes of all the Stellar Group employees. In the car, the scent of conflict still lingered in the air. Liam leaned back in his seat and took a deep breath. Beating up Felix was satisfying, but he knew that some things ultimately had to be handled in a more mature way. He hesitated for a moment before finally dialing a number he hadn't called in a long time. Jenna Zhao. The call was rejected. A bitter taste filled Liam's mouth. Just as he was about to give up, his phone rang. It was Jenna, calling him back. Her voice was so calm it betrayed no emotion, as if they were just two ordinary business partners. Do you have time? Let's meet and talk about work. Regarding the miracle flu drug's expansion into the international market, Jenna's business instincts were as sharp as ever. Yes, I don't trust anyone else. Only you. The meeting was set at Jean Zhang's cafe. It was a careful choice, a place to talk business, and also a way to send a message of reassurance to Chloe through Jean, their little spy. When Liam walked into the cafe, he immediately spotted Jenna sitting by the window. She was as striking as ever, dressed in a sharp business suit, her presence so powerful that it deterred any man who might have considered approaching her. She gazed out the window quietly, like a perfect sculpture. Been waiting long? Liam asked, sitting down opposite her. In that instant, he felt the gazes of every man in the cafe turn into sharp arrows aimed right at him. Did you get into a fight? Jenna's eyes fell on a few faint bloodstains on his collar. Liam didn't hide it, briefly recounting what had just happened. After listening, a sarcastic smile touched Jenna's lips. I know you and Chloe got back together. If you asked me here today just to show off how much you love her, there's really no need. I'm not showing off. If I remember correctly, your favorite drink is a latte. Jenna interrupted, her gaze falling on the glass of orange-yellow juice in front of him. In front of her was a rich latte. Her words were like a key, unlocking a sealed memory. In college, both he and Jenna loved lattes. Only Chloe always drank juice. Time had passed, and his tastes had eventually become hers. I still don't understand. Why did I lose to Chloe? For the first time, a tremor entered Jenna's voice. Liam was silent for a long time before he finally spoke. Jenna, maybe I did love you, but my love for you was limited to that of an older brother caring for his little sister. In my eyes, you've always been that little sister who needed looking after. I don't want to lose this friendship, and I certainly don't want to lose you as a friend. Can you just let yourself be the clear-headed one here, please? Then tell me, what's a better choice? Someone more handsome than you? Richer? With more potential? Jenna's questions were like daggers to the heart. You. Liam was so exasperated by her stubbornness that he slapped the table, but he was helpless. In the end, it was Jenna who pulled herself out of the emotional whirlpool first, regaining her professional composure. Let's talk business. The board is very willing to cooperate with Phoenix Pharmaceuticals, but on one condition. You must offer significant concessions. Concessions? Liam's eyes grew sharp as well. Let me tell you, concessions are absolutely impossible. Trident International is just the first intermediary for Phoenix Pharmaceuticals to go abroad, not the only one. I can give you exclusive partnership rights and let you earn enormous profits, but the control must remain in the hands of Phoenix Pharmaceuticals. I trust the shareholders at Trident International can see that. The air in the Clarity Cafe grew heavy from the confrontation between Liam and Jenna. Liam's words, because of you, were both his true reason for choosing Trident International and his clumsy attempt to atone for past debts. He even extended an olive branch, inviting Jenna to join the soon-to-be-established Phoenix Group. But she rejected him without hesitation. If I went to the Phoenix Group, wouldn't you and Chloe fight constantly? Jenna's tone was self-deprecating. After this partnership is complete, I'll apply for a transfer back to headquarters. From now on, let's just live well in our own separate worlds. You're leaving again? Liam was stung by her decisiveness. Are you planning to never see me again? Maybe I'll come to my senses after I get back to headquarters. Jenna's smile was bright but distant. Suit yourself. Liam could no longer suppress his frustration. He shot to his feet, drained his glass of juice in one gulp, and left the cafe without looking back. As she watched his phantom disappear around the corner, the icy mask on Jenna's face slowly melted, revealing a hint of wistfulness and vulnerability. She murmured to herself, Liam, I hope I can come to my senses too, but you have to give me some time. Just as she was about to pay and leave, a familiar figure appeared at the cafe entrance. It was Chloe. Chloe. Jenna's eyes instantly became wary, a chill in her gaze. Are you following Liam? No. Chloe took off her coat and gracefully sat down where Liam had just been, her expression as calm as still water. I guessed he would meet you here. That's why I came. She glanced at the two glasses still on the table and said to Jean, who had walked over, a latte, please. Jenna snapped. Since when did you change your tastes? I've actually wanted to try a latte for a long time. Chloe looked up, a hint of a smile in her eyes. But I was afraid you would make fun of me, so I always ordered juice. Pretty childish, right? Her words seemed to strike the softest spot in Jenna's heart. She looked at Chloe, the woman she had been entangled with for nearly a decade, and finally relented under her calm gaze, sitting back down. You two are seriously the most annoying couple I've ever met. As the sun set, Chloe linked her arm through Liam's as they walked out of Phoenix Pharmaceuticals, the atmosphere between them sweet and harmonious. In the car, Chloe immediately noticed the faint bloodstain on Liam's collar. You got in a fight? More accurately, I beat someone up. Under Chloe's intense interrogation, Liam confessed to his conflict with Felix. Under Chloe's intense interrogation, Liam confessed to his conflict with Felix. You really are something else, Chloe huffed, but her tone held an undeniable note of concern. And Jenna Zhao was the first one to know about it. I went to see her at Jean's this morning, too. You had a meal with her? Alone? My God. Liam was so shocked, he almost hit the wrong pedal. We had a great chat. My impression of her has never been better than it is now. Chloe sighed lightly. Some things are fine once you think them through. The person who tied the bell must be the one to untie it. What you say to her might not be as effective as what I say. Although Liam was skeptical, seeing Chloe's confident expression, he chose to believe her. As they were bantering and starting to discuss wedding details, a call came in from Liam's childhood friend, Finn Lin Jr. Finn, what's up? Big boss Lin, your miracle flu drug is a massive hit. My cousin's kid has the flu, and she's looked all over Changwon City, but can't find it anywhere. You should have given us a heads up. A lot of people think you're doing scarcity marketing. Finn's casual remark struck both Liam and Chloe like a bolt of lightning. They looked at each other, their eyes filled with shock and gravity. They had been so focused on conquering their home province that they had completely overlooked the wildfire of public opinion that had already been ignited across the entire country. A massive crisis, sparked by the drug's unavailability, was quietly brewing. Finn Lin Jr.'s casual remark over the phone was like a thunderclap, instantly shattering Liam's victorious mood. Before he could even process it, Chloe's phone rang. It was Hugo Han, his tone graver than ever before. Chloe put the call on speaker, and Hugo's anxious voice filled the car. Old Lin, we have a problem. The internet just exploded. Someone is intentionally steering public opinion, saying we're doing regional sales and scarcity marketing. They're accusing us of violating market rules and crossing the people's moral bottom line. Liam's face darkened, and he quickly pulled the car over. He opened TikTok and searched for the pharmaceutical blogger Hugo had mentioned, Muzi Li, who had over 5 million followers. On the cover of the pinned video, 5 large, blood-red characters spelled out a damning accusation. Playing favorites. In the video, the blogger visited several pharmacies in other provinces, and the answer was always the same. They weren't authorized to sell the drug. The lengthy text accompanying the video was a cascade of accusations, each sentence dripping with moral righteousness, condemning Phoenix Pharmaceuticals for building its happiness on the suffering of the entire nation. Even more damaging, an official-looking account called Nanzhou Evening News used a highly credible tone to directly convict Phoenix Pharmaceuticals, declaring their disregard for the people's interests is truly shameful. The comment section was already a flood of abuse. Countless misinformed netizens had been incited, their anger swelling into a torrent that threatened to consume everything. Damn it! Liam slammed his fist on the steering wheel, a fire of betrayal and slander nearly burning away his reason. Contact the news department immediately. We're holding a press conference at the official government building, he roared at Hugo over the phone. Also, have the legal department start gathering evidence. I want to sue every single one of them. Contact the news department immediately. We're holding a press conference at the official government building, he roared at Hugo over the phone. Also, have the legal department start gathering evidence. I want to sue every single one of them. Just as Liam was preparing to take on the world with maximum force, a phone call, like a bucket of ice water, pulled him back from the brink of rage. It was Walter Joe. Grandpa, have you seen the videos online? Walter's voice was calm and powerful. I have. I'm about to hold a press conference to clarify things. How will you clarify? Walter asked. By denying it. That will only make people think you're being defensive. You must remember, you're a businessman. All your money comes from the public. Never get into a fight with the public. Over the phone, Walter offered no words of comfort, only a series of brilliant strategic moves to turn the tide. He warned Liam not to fall into the trap, not to explain defensively, but to attack proactively, shift the focus, and even take the opportunity to turn the tables. After hanging up, Liam let out a long breath. He looked at Chloe, the fire in his eyes now replaced by an unprecedented calm and sharpness. At 6 p.m, the area in front of the government building was brightly lit. Dozens of reporters shivered in the sub-zero temperatures, their patience wearing thin. When Liam's Phantom glided to a stop, all cameras turned on him. However, his first action after getting out of the car stunned everyone. He had his bodyguards give a gift box to every single reporter. Inside were 3 boxes of the now priceless miracle flu drug and a substantial red envelope with a cash gift. The press conference began right there in the plaza, under the glare of countless camera flashes. In response to the first sharp question about the supply shortage, Liam frankly admitted their production limitations. But then, he pivoted and began to sincerely recommend other brands of flu medicine, the very products of the competitors who were leading the online smear campaign. If you can't buy the miracle flu drug, you can try taking rapid relief granules or washing children's cold granules. These are all established flu medications and are also effective to a certain degree. This move of repaying malice with virtue left all the reporters dumbfounded. It was a display of incredible confidence and broad-mindedness. Next, when asked about pushing the drug internationally, Liam was resolute. In my eyes, the people of our country are far more important than those people overseas. Finally, Chloe took the stage for the grand finale. She not only took a hardline stance on international pricing, stating it would be comprehensively evaluated based on the prices of foreign drugs imported into our country, but she also dropped a bombshell under the watchful eyes of the nation. The next specialty drug Phoenix Pharmaceuticals will be releasing to the market is a foot cream. No matter how severe the condition, we can guarantee it will be cured in 1 day and will not recur for at least 2 years. The moment she finished speaking, the entire plaza fell silent. Everyone understood. The siege that was meant to destroy Phoenix Pharmaceuticals had been completely transformed into a dazzling personal show for Liam and Chloe. The press conference held in front of the government building was like a meticulously choreographed play, each act perfectly timed to the rhythm of public opinion. When Chloe used Xiaoyu Ren's tragic story to imbue Xiaoyu's miracle flu drug with a profound sense of mission and declared that Phoenix Pharmaceuticals would take on terminal illnesses like cancer, the atmosphere reached a crescendo. Someone started it, and thunderous applause echoed, not just for Liam and Chloe, but for the hope they offered to all those battling illness. The press conference was over, but the waves it created were just beginning. Overnight, media coverage was overwhelming, and online comment sections became a clearly divided battlefield. While paid trolls continued their slander and doubt, rational voices began to emerge. Countless family members of patients cured by the drug shared their stories. The Azure-based City Pharmaceutical Administration also issued a timely official statement, confirming that Phoenix Pharmaceuticals was not engaging in regional sales, but was indeed facing severe production shortages. The situation was slowly but surely turning in the direction Liam had intended. But Liam knew this was far from enough. He didn't want a temporary truce. He wanted a complete and utter reckoning, one that would make every mastermind behind the scenes pay a painful price. He called Adrian Zhao, his voice as cold as ice. Get the brothers with reconnaissance experience on a plane to Kunming City in Yunhai Province immediately. I want to know everything about this, Musi Lee. Meanwhile, at the center of the storm, the blogger known as Musi Lee, Graham Lee, was basking in an unprecedented sense of self-importance. He believed he had executed a perfect publicity stunt, pocketing a hefty sum from a provincial corporate giant, while crafting a glorious image for himself as a fearless truth-teller. His follower count and reputation were at their peak. He was convinced that Phoenix Pharmaceuticals, miles away, was powerless against him. As he was gloating, his doorbell rang. A young woman, claiming to be from the marketing department of the Huawei Group, stood there with the latest smartphone and laptop, inviting him to be a VIP guest at their new product launch. This massive windfall, seemingly fallen from the sky, completely went to Graham's head. He enthusiastically welcomed her in, pontificating about his professional integrity as a blogger, not an influencer, completely oblivious to her covert observation of his every move. After seeing the Huawei employee off, Graham could no longer contain his glee. He pulled his beautiful young mistress into his arms, his fat hands roaming freely as he spewed the filthiest, most vile words. "Don't mention my wife and kids, they just piss me off. That plain-faced countrywoman thinks she can get a piece of my fortune? I'll give her 100,000, and that's it. No figure, no looks, she's not even good in bed," he grumbled, greedily eyeing his mistress's voluptuous figure. "My little baby is so much better, so fresh, I can't even control myself." "What about the kids?" the mistress pouted. "I don't want two little burdens hanging around after we're married." "Don't worry, that hag will definitely fight for custody. I barely see those kids once a year, I have no feelings for them. Even if they wanted to come with me, I wouldn't take them." The conversation painted a vivid picture of a man consumed by greed, a sycophant who abandoned his wife and children, a classic traitor. Just as Graham, consumed by lust, was about to pounce on his mistress, a shrill ringtone shattered the moment. The sound was like a death knell from hell, heralding the arrival of his comeuppance. The unexpected phone call was like a bucket of cold water, instantly dousing all of Graham Lee's desire. On the other end was Hayden Hahn, a close associate of Trevor Yao, the chairman of Greenleaf Pharma. "Mr. Lee, your video was very effective." Hayden's voice carried in tone that brooked no argument. "The company hopes you'll keep up the good work. Ride the momentum and release a few more videos attacking the miracle flu drug. 1 million per video. 1 million. The number was a devil's whisper, instantly shattering the last shred of hesitation in Graham's mind. He knew the Azure-based City Pharmaceutical Administration had already issued a clarification, but under the allure of a massive payout, he gritted his teeth and agreed. He hung up, not noticing a faint red light flash briefly on his phone screen. Meanwhile, in Azure-based City, at Phoenix Pharmaceuticals, Adrian Zhao placed several photos on Liam's desk. "CEO Lin, these individuals are all connected to the matter." Liam's gaze fell on a photo of a man with slicked back hair and a scar on his face. "His name is Hayden Hahn." Adrian's voice was flat. "One of Chairman Trevor Yao's associates at Greenleaf Pharma. 10 minutes ago, he called Graham Lee. We have obtained the complete audio and video evidence. Post them. The more, the better." A cold smile played on Liam's lips. "The more videos they release, the more they'll have to compensate Phoenix Pharmaceuticals for damages in the future." He picked up a pen and wrote another name on a piece of paper. Dr. Pei, the director of Regal Hospital. "Starting today, keep a close watch on him. We'll have something within 3 days." Sure enough, at 2 o'clock that afternoon, a new wave of attacks hit the internet. Led by Muzi Lee in the Nanzhou Evening News, a host of accounts released a new round of videos. This time, they moved on from regional sales and focused on scarcity marketing, claiming with certainty that Phoenix Pharmaceuticals was hiding inventory to drive up prices, inciting netizens to demand a government investigation. Yet, in the face of this escalating storm, Liam remained unusually calm. He glanced at the back-end sales data, which still showed inventory selling out instantly, and then shut down his computer. In his eyes, his opponent's tactics were as childish as a game of make-believe. At 5 in the evening, as if nothing had happened, Liam prepared to leave work with Chloe. A timely call came in from his older brother, Hector Zhang. "Got plans tonight? Your sister-in-law's cooked up a storm. The other guys are here too. Come on over. Sounds great." Hector's home was warm and inviting. The familiar laughter and the aroma of food instantly pulled Liam from the battlefield of business back to the simple joys of life. Jay was playing with Hector's daughter, while Vincent Liu and his wife, Tina, were making dumplings at the dining table. Their 2 kids were huddled together, playing games on a tablet. Chloe naturally took Vincent's place, chatting with Tina. Over drinks, the brothers shared their own good news. "Summit Retail is on the ropes," Hector said with the satisfaction of a master strategist. "They've contacted Phoenix Capital, willing to sell a 30% stake." 30% isn't enough, Liam shook his head. "I want a controlling stake." On the Phoenix Entertainment side, Vincent chimed in. "Evan Huan and Laura Liu have officially joined. They'll be performing with Yun Zhoujuan at the Spring Festival Gala this year. Also, the premiere date for Chronicles of the Cat God is set for the Little New Year's Festival." One piece of good news after another, like bottles of fine wine, made the evening's atmosphere even more festive. Liam looked at his brothers. They may not have had his world-shaking luck, but they were all striving and shining in their own fields. This pure brotherhood, mixed with the steam rising from the dumplings, became his strongest shield in the storm, his warmest harbor. The press conference was like a massive stone thrown into an already turbulent sea of public opinion, creating monstrous waves. However, no one could have predicted the bizarre turn the storm would take. Top celebrity Jessica Chu posted just 5 words on her Weibo account to her tens of millions of followers. "Justice will prevail," tagging Phoenix Pharmaceuticals and Liam and Chloe. This was the spark that ignited the entire entertainment industry. Immediately after, the undisputed king of the music world, Jay Chou, and his studio both retweeted her post. One stone had stirred up 1,000 waves. What began as a business dispute over drug sales quickly devolved into a massive fan war between celebrities and online influencers. The internet was flooded with people taking sides, trading insults, and slinging mud. The fans, fiercely defending their idols, had long since forgotten the actual facts of the case. Phoenix Pharmaceuticals was thrust into the eye of the storm, becoming the dazzling focal point of this national frenzy. Yet, in stark contrast to the online chaos, sales of the miracle flu drug remained unbelievably explosive. Daily production surpassed 1 million boxes, but the online quota of 200,000 boxes still sold out before 10 a.m. every day. The marketing department at Phoenix Pharmaceuticals was inundated with calls from hospitals demanding more stock. Netizens would be spewing vitriol in the comments 1 minute, then desperately trying to pull strings to buy a box the next. The supposed crisis had become the best free advertising for the drug. In the chairman's office at Phoenix Pharmaceuticals, Liam quietly reviewed a stack of documents and a few USB drives handed to him by Hugo Hahn. The evidence of collusion between the lead influencers and Hayden Hahn is all here, Hugo said with a hint of satisfaction. Unfortunately, that old fox Trevor Yao is too well hidden. We haven't been able to bait him out yet. Hayden Hahn is his right-hand man. Taking him down is like cutting off Yao's arm. Liam's eyes were as cold as ice. The legal department can start preparing. Let's aim to file the lawsuit before the new year. It's time to show the public that Phoenix Pharmaceuticals is no coward. With all preparations in place, Liam did something that even Hugo didn't expect. He picked up his phone and dialed an unknown number. A low, wary voice answered. Hello, Chairman Yao, are we done with this yet? Liam's voice was laced with mockery. The person on the other end was none other than the chairman of Greenleaf Pharma, Trevor Yao. Who is this? Trevor feigned ignorance. It's me, Liam Lin, the one who didn't rely on his parents, but built his own fortune from scratch. After a brief silence, Trevor's voice turned sinister. What's the meaning of this call? Nothing much. The new year is coming, and I just wanted to remind Chairman Yao to behave, so everyone can have a peaceful holiday, Liam chuckled. Did any of your little games cause the sales of the miracle flu drug to drop by even a single box? The product's strength is always paramount. These little tricks you're playing only bring Phoenix Pharmaceuticals more publicity and profit. You think you can crush me with these dirty tactics? You're not worthy. If you really think this is working, by all means, continue, Liam said before hanging up. Oh, and by the way, thanks for saving Phoenix Pharmaceuticals a huge amount on celebrity endorsement fees. When I have time, I'll be sure to pay you a visit and thank you properly. On the other end of the line, there was only the sound of Trevor Yao's heavy, suppressed breathing. January 11th, 2024. 20 days into the 11th lunar month. There were exactly 40 days until the spring festival. The city sky was bright with the winter sun, and the occasional pop of firecrackers from the urban villages brought an early taste of the new year. A crack was open in the Phantom's window, and the familiar smell of sulfur drifted in. Chloe couldn't help but take a deep breath. My dear, you shouldn't be smelling that, Liam chided as he reached to close the window. Don't. Chloe stopped him, her eyes filled with nostalgia. That smell takes me back to my childhood. Honey, time flies so fast. It's almost the new year again. That single word, honey, made Liam's heart skip a beat. He knew that the memory of going home for the new year last year was not just vivid for Chloe, it was unforgettable. It was the beginning of her seeing light again after being in a deep abyss of despair. Next year, we'll have a new little member in the family. I'll charter a plane and take all of you home for the holiday, Liam said with a smile, his hand gently resting on Chloe's flat stomach. They bantered sweetly the whole way, discussing names for their second child and the fireworks for the new year, as if all the world's troubles had nothing to do with them. However, as soon as they arrived at the company, a phone call pulled Liam from the warm family atmosphere back into the tumultuous world of business. My dear Chairman Lin, you're about to lose. It was Milo Hahn from the Horizon Group, his voice filled with uncontrollable glee. Guess how many bottles of fatigue-free water we sold yesterday? 2.33 million. What? Liam was severely shaken. 33 million bottles sold in a single day meant a daily net profit of over 20 million. And it had only been on the market for just over 2 months. And that's not even the best part. Milo's voice grew even more excited. Horizon's second functional beverage is already in the works. Its effect: fat reduction. Fat reduction? Liam shot to his feet. He knew that his foresight had finally created a butterfly effect. In the original timeline, this market-disrupting fat reduction drink wasn't supposed to appear for at least another 3 years. Now, because of his intervention, it had been pushed forward by 3 whole years. After hanging up, Liam temporarily suppressed the shock of the news. He called Hugo Hahn over to arrange the final tasks before the new year. I've booked a flight for tomorrow to go back to Bayan Province for the holiday. I'll need you to handle things here at the company. Don't worry, Hugo nodded, then reported a staggering figure. The 12 factories acquired by the Four Geniuses company will all be operational tomorrow. By then, The daily production of the miracle flu drug will reach 4 million boxes. 4 million boxes. This meant that from this one drug alone, Phoenix Pharmaceuticals' future daily net profit would reach a terrifying 500 million. When Chloe heard this number from Hugo, she clutched her Chanel handbag and murmured, Am I dreaming? This is just the beginning, Liam said, playfully tapping her nose. My dear wife, you need to broaden your horizons. Seeing Liam's exaggerated imitation of their daughter Sophie, Chloe burst into laughter. She gazed at the man before her, the man who had created a business legend in just one short year, her eyes filled with an unprecedented adoration and love. Honey, you're amazing. That heartfelt honey melted Liam's heart instantly. He felt happier than if he had earned tens of billions. You must have been really tired this year, haven't you? Chloe's voice was as soft as a feather, brushing against Liam's heart. Her starry eyes were full of concern. Liam wanted to joke that he was exhausted, but seeing the genuine care in his wife's eyes, he couldn't say a word. He knew that all his efforts, all his strategies, had, in this moment, found their warmest home. January 12, 2025. The flight to Bayan Province soared through cotton-like clouds. Leaning against the window, Liam gazed at the sea of clouds below, his thoughts adrift. This year had passed too quickly, and had been too full. Phoenix Capital's precise investments, Phoenix Properties' grand projects, Phoenix Entertainment's rising stars, and Phoenix Pharmaceuticals' market-shaking profits. A vast business empire had already laid its solid foundation. But for Liam, all this accumulated wealth was nothing compared to the peaceful sight of his wife sleeping beside him and the innocent chatter of his daughter, Sophie, in his arms. That was the harbor he longed for most after his battles in the business world. He thought of the 2 bank cards he had slipped into his father's hand before boarding, one with 5 million, the other with 500,000. The unspoken understanding between father and son had long surpassed words. The guilt that had once weighed him down could now finally be remedied in the most substantial way. The plane landed. The winter air of Bayan Province was crisp and familiar. As several Mercedes S-Class sedans slowly drove into Lingjia Ridge, Liam knew he was home. The old house, unoccupied for months, felt a bit cold, but with the bustling of Felicity, Chloe, and Clara, the clatter of pots and pans and the rustle of brooms soon breathed life back into it. In the evening, just as Liam was about to go to the village's small store for groceries, 2 familiar figures appeared at the courtyard gate. It was his father's old friend, Uncle Eason, and his wife. They carried fresh vegetables and newly cut pork, their smiles simple and warm. Uncle, Auntie, I can't accept this. What's not to accept? I still feel bad about that extra 10,000 you gave us last time. Auntie Weiwei scolded him, but her eyes were full of affection. You just got home. You must not have anything prepared. This is just for now. Tomorrow, I'll cook a proper meal for you all. Uncle Eason was a man of fewer words. He went straight in, found Aaron, and the 2 old friends, with a combined age of over 100, squatted like children before the stove. They lit the expensive cigarettes Liam had brought back, puffing away and arguing over whose smoke ring was more perfect. Watching this scene, Liam smiled. This was the taste of home, unchanged by wealth, unhindered by status. However, this tranquility was shattered the next morning. The Lin family's long quiet doorstep was nearly worn down. The entire village of Lingjia Ridge, from 90-year-olds to toddlers, knew Liam Lin, the multi-billionaire boss of Phoenix Pharmaceuticals, was back. So, the same neighbors who had once gossiped and watched from a distance now arrived with their most enthusiastic smiles, visiting for all sorts of reasons. Praises, flatteries, and tentative requests filled the air. Aaron and Felicity wore complex smiles of vindication, enjoying the long-overdue respect while dealing with the overly pragmatic warmth. Liam returned from the market, carrying heavy groceries for his mother, sweating profusely. He looked no different from an ordinary farm boy, which made the crowd of neighbors stare in a bit of a daze. Amidst the clamor, 2 figures appeared at the courtyard gate, and Liam's gaze locked onto them. It was Finn Lin Jr. Standing beside him was a slender, pretty girl. Finn, Liam practically roared as he rushed out. He dropped what he was carrying, opened his arms, and gave his friend a solid bear hug, nearly knocking him over. Damn, are you trying to kill me? Finn laughed and cursed, slapping Liam's back hard in return. There was no formality, no awkwardness. A single hug seemed to erase all the differences in status and the distance of time between them. Finn's fiancée, Windy One, looked on with a mixture of curiosity and shyness at the legendary billionaire. Finn proudly introduced him. This is my best friend, Liam. Don't be fooled by his big boss status now. He's still the same old guy. There was no trace of jealousy or flattery in his tone, only the purest, most sincere joy for his friend. In that moment, amidst the noisy crowd, Liam finally found the true meaning of coming home. Watching Finn and Windy walk away, arm in arm, Chloe said softly, I bet she's a really good person. A woman's intuition can be terrifyingly accurate. Liam smiled and pulled her into his arms. They chased each other into the house. their light-hearted sweetness a stark contrast to the storm that was about to break. That evening, Liam walked over to Finn's house, carrying 2 gift boxes he'd bought from the village store. The yard was small, and the 3 low-roofed houses looked particularly quiet in the moonlight. Finn's mother, Mrs. Zhang, was clearing the dishes. When she saw Liam, a warm smile bloomed on her face. "Well, look who it is. What a handsome young man. Even more charming than before." The hardships of life hadn't worn away her cheerful and warm nature. To Liam, this woman was practically a second mother. When he got into trouble as a child, he would always run here in his torn pants to hide. When he was hungry, he'd come here for a meal. When his parents disciplined him, he'd run here to plead his case. Mrs. Zhang looked at the young man, now the boss of a large company, with a mix of nostalgia and emotion. Her affection, untainted by any motive, warmed Liam's heart and brought a lump to his throat. Finn jumped down from the heated brick bed inside and dragged Liam out the door without a word. Undeterred by the cold, the 2 brothers sat side by side on the doorstep. On this quiet night, a gentle breeze blew, and the reeds in the distance swayed softly in the moonlight. Liam handed Finn a premium cigarette. The glowing embers flickered in the dark, like 2 hearts communicating in silence. "Remember this?" Finn let out a long sigh. "That year it rained so hard, the front of my house was practically a river. We just sat here like this and got soaked to the bone." "How could I forget?" Liam laughed. "We skipped class that day. I didn't dare go home, and my mom ended up dragging me back for a beating." They recounted one embarrassing childhood story after another, laughing and teasing each other, as if they were back in those carefree days. But as the laughter subsided, silence fell again, tinged with the weight of adulthood. "I always feel like I've let Wendy down somehow." Finn's voice was low in the darkness. He glanced back at the house, where he could see Wendy's silhouette as she watched TV. "Ever since we set the wedding date, I keep dreaming about Wendy Leong." Wendy Leong, the girl who had died of cancer. The deepest wound in Finn's heart. Liam's own heart sank. He nudged Finn, hissing, "Are you crazy? You have to look forward. Wendy is the one you're going to spend your life with. Do you think this is fair to her? I love her. I really, really love her." Finn looked up, his eyes filled with pain. "But I can't control it." It seemed he had 1,000 more things to say, but they all dissolved into a sigh, carried away by the night wind. In the end, he only asked Liam to be there the next day, for the little New Year's festival, to help him entertain his future in-laws. The next day, the 23rd of the 12th lunar month, was the little New Year. Liam arrived early at Finn's house, but felt none of the festive cheer. Another childhood friend, Zane Lin, was also there. The atmosphere between the 3 of them was a bit awkward. Their former closeness seemed to have been eroded by time. Near noon, Finn's future in-laws finally arrived. The father, Mr. 1, had a cold, indifferent face. The mother, Mrs. He, wore a smile that couldn't hide her disdain. And the brother, Miles 1, a young man with an earring, began his performance the moment he walked in. "Sis, this place is a dump, isn't it?" He pinched his nose dramatically, waving away non-existent dust. "Is it even 1,000 square feet? You're going to live in this cramped space after you get married? Sleeping on the floor?" The harsh words were like needles, piercing the hearts of Finn and his mother. Mrs. Zhang quickly forced a smile. "Finn's father passed away early, so our circumstances aren't great. It'll be better once they buy their own apartment." "An apartment?" Mrs. His sharp voice was like an awl, puncturing everyone's last shred of dignity. She scanned the room as if inspecting a defective product, her gaze finally landing on Finn's flushed face. "Where is it, then? Show it to us." The chill of the previous night seemed to linger on the doorstep. Liam could still see Finn sitting beside him, his expression a mixture of dejection and forced bravado as he blew smoke rings. He hadn't understood then where Finn's feeling of letting Wendy down came from. It was only today that he realized it had nothing to do with romance, and everything to do with dignity. The 23rd of the 12th lunar month, the little New Year. The village was filled with the laughter of children and the crackle of firecrackers, the festive spirit thick in the air. But inside Finn's small, 3-room house, the air was frozen and oppressive. Liam and another childhood friend, Zane Lin, were waiting as guests. When a nervous Finn welcomed his future in-laws, Liam instantly understood the full weight of last night's sigh. The father, Mr. 1, wore a face like a 1,000-year-old glacier, etched with indifference. The mother, Mrs. He, had a smile on her lips, but her eyes were full of criticism and contempt. And the brother, Miles 1, a young man with an earring, was the very embodiment of sarcasm. "Sis, this place is a dump, isn't it?" Miles pinched his nose dramatically as he entered, as if the air was foul. "Is it even 1,000 square feet? You're going to live in this cramped space after you get married? Sleeping on the floor?" Every word was a needle, precisely aimed at the hearts of Finn and his mother, Mrs. Zhang. Mrs. Zhang, mortified, could only bow and offer apologetic smiles, trying to diffuse their arrogance with her own humility. Liam tried to ease the tension, but Miles cut him off with, "Do only my parents need to rest? Don't I? Where are your manners?" Even Mr. Wen shot them a sidelong glance and said coldly, Finn, don't you have uncles? What's the meaning of having these two young guys as your guests? The implication was clear. Liam and Zane weren't worthy. Mrs. He made a grand show of it all. She pulled a handkerchief from a cheap handbag, and, on the stool that Mrs. Zhang had already wiped countless times, she began to slowly and deliberately wipe it again and again, as if it were covered in filth. The gesture was more insulting than any words. Mom, what are you doing? Winnie finally couldn't take it anymore, her face flushing red. What am I doing? I should be asking you what you're doing. Mrs. He, as if her fuse had been lit, suddenly shrieked. You wretched girl, I'm asking you. What was the bride price you told your mother-in-law? Mrs. Zhang froze, instinctively replying, 138,000. Who told you 138,000? Mrs. He leaped up like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. We clearly asked for 268,000. The lie was exposed. The color drained from Wendy's face. She turned to the stunned Mrs. Zhang, her voice trembling. Mom, I'm sorry, I lied to you. I know your family's situation. Finn and I were going to borrow money from friends to make up the difference, and then we'd pay it back ourselves. This girl, so kind it was heartbreaking, had tried to protect everyone's dignity with a clumsy lie. But in the eyes of Mrs. He's family, that dignity was worthless. The argument erupted. Amidst Wendy's desperate protests, Mrs. He finally screamed the ugly truth. 138,000? That's not even enough for a down payment on your brother's apartment. The room fell into a dead silence. This wasn't a marriage. It was a transaction with a clear price tag. With her true intentions revealed, Mrs. He dropped all pretense, her face a mask of shrewishness. I won't beat around the bush. Let's just settle on a number today. A bride price of 300,000, not a penny less. Agree, and they get married. Disagree, and the wedding is off. Finn's face had gone dark enough to drip water. He clenched his fists, his knuckles turning white. But Mrs. Zhang held him back. She knew her son was on the verge of exploding, but she couldn't let him ruin this marriage. She turned, her voice almost a plea. In-law, 300,000. Our family really can't afford that. That's your problem, not mine. Mrs. He cut her off coldly, then played her final card. And besides the bride price, there's the 3 golds, a bracelet, a necklace, and a ring. They have to total at least 50,000. If you can't afford them, you can give us 30,000 in cash instead. 30,000 in cash for the 3 golds? This was no longer a humiliation. It was blatant extortion. You might as well just ask me to die. Wendy's cry was filled with despair. In that moment, for Finn, the entire world seemed to crumble around him. The little New Year's sun failed to penetrate the 3 small rooms of Finn's house. The air was not filled with festive cheer, but with a suffocating coldness. Sitting at the table, watching Finn's future in-laws, Liam finally understood the unspoken bitterness behind his friend's sigh last night. The mother, Mrs. He, wore a cruel smile. She pulled a handkerchief from a cheap handbag, and, on the stool that Mrs. Zhang had already wiped countless times, she slowly, deliberately, wiped it again and again, as if it were covered in some invisible filth. The gesture was more insulting than any words. The brother, Miles 1, was like a cawing crow, his sharp tongue openly mocking every corner of the small house. Sis, this place is a dump, isn't it? Is it even 1,000 square feet? You're going to live in this cramped space after you get married? Sleeping on the floor? Every word was a needle, piercing the hearts of Finn and his mother, Mrs. Zhang. Mortified Mrs. Zhang could only bow and offer apologetic smiles, trying to diffuse their arrogance with her own humility. But her deference only fueled their audacity. You wretched girl, I'm asking you, what was the bride price you told your mother-in-law? Mrs. His sharp voice was like an awl, puncturing everyone's last shred of dignity. When the number, 268,000, left her lips, the lie Wendy had woven to protect both families was ruthlessly exposed. The kind-hearted girl, so sweet it was heartbreaking, turned pale. Under the pressure and humiliation from her parents, she finally broke. Enough, Wendy screamed, tears streaming down her face. All my life, you've tried to bleed me dry. Now I'm getting married, and you still won't leave me alone? Are you vampires? She shrieked, with all her might. Fine, I'm not getting married. I, Wendy One, swear that I will never marry anyone. You won't get a single penny from me. With that, she ran out of the house, sobbing. What was supposed to be a celebratory feast ended in a bitter, unceremonious mess. Before leaving, Mrs. E's family didn't forget to throw one last insult. Looking at this place, I doubt you could make a clean meal anyway, tearing away the last shred of civility. The house was left in a dead silence. Mrs. Zhang sat in a daze, her face ashen. Suddenly, as if making a decision, she said to Finn, who had returned at some point, "This afternoon, let's go to the city and see how much we can get for these 3 rooms." No, Finn and Wendy shouted in unison, their voices trembling. This house is your and Dad's life's work. If you sell it, where will you live? But Mrs. Zhang just smiled, a smile sadder than tears. I'm an old woman. I can just rent a place. Let's just get the bride price together and get you two married. Then I can rest easy. Finn could no longer hold it in. The grown man collapsed onto the table, sobbing uncontrollably. He hated his own powerlessness, hated this damned reality. I'm done eating. An out-of-place voice broke the silence. Liam wiped his mouth with a napkin, a playful smile on his face. You have to pay for a meal out, right? Andy, how much for this meal? Mrs. Zhang was stunned, then she understood. But Liam didn't give her a chance to react. He turned to Finn, his usually gentle face now filled with an undeniable arrogance. It's just money. What's the big deal? His voice wasn't loud, but it exploded in the small house like thunder. Your richest friend is sitting right here, and you need your mom to sell her house? You need to borrow money from others. Finn, let me tell you a story. Liam recounted how he had helped Hector, Vincent, and the others, laying bare their childhood friendship and the kindness Mrs. Zhang had shown him over the years. His voice grew more and more emotional, until he was almost shouting. You're too damn nice, brother. Why do you have to make things so complicated when they can be solved so easily? If you love her, then marry her. What's money? Your brother has plenty of it. He stared at Finn and said, word by word. So tell me, how much do you need? As long as you, Finn Lin, dare to ask, then I, Liam Lin, dare to give. Liam's words, as long as you dare to ask, I dare to give, detonated like a depth charge in the quiet little house. Finn, Wendy, and Mrs. Zhang were all stunned, looking as if their souls had left their bodies, staring blankly at the arrogantly smiling man before them. The firecrackers outside were still popping cheerfully, but the air inside had frozen. Auntie, Wendy's parents are actually right. Liam's voice broke the silence. Liam gently but firmly pushed Mrs. Zhang back into her seat. Finn and Wendy will be living in the city most of the time. They can't just keep renting. And you'll have to go over to help with the kids. The conditions here aren't good enough. Liam turned to Finn, his gaze leaving no room for argument. The wedding car fleet is cancelled. Liam will arrange it. Liam's own Rolls-Royce Phantom, plus Chloe's Cullinan, will be Finn's and Wendy's wedding cars. For the banquet, the king crabs, the Australian lobsters, Liam will have them flown in directly from Azure Bay City. Liam will make sure Finn marries Wendy in style. King crabs? Australian lobsters? Wendy's eyes widened. Those were things Wendy had only ever seen on TV, things from another world. Mrs. Zhang was so overjoyed she started to cry, the crushing weight on her shoulders vanishing with Liam's casual words. In the afternoon, Liam drove Finn, Wendy, and Mrs. Zhang towards the city in the Mercedes S-Class that Dexter Xiong had arranged. Inside the car, soft music flowed from the top-of-the-line sound system. The Napa leather seats were smooth and warm, and the ride was so stable they could barely feel the road. Finn sank comfortably into the passenger seat, Finn's eyes filled with a man's desire for mechanics and power. Like the car? Liam asked with a smile. Duh, who wouldn't? Liam said no more. Liam just used the car's Bluetooth to call Dexter. Hey, Finn needs a car. Liam is not going to return this Mercedes S to Dexter for now, Liam said, as casually as if Liam were deciding on dinner. Dexter on the other end was even more nonchalant. Are you kidding me, Brother Lin? The car was yours the moment I sent it over. You don't even need to mention something so small. I'll have the dealership send the title over to your friend right away. We'll transfer it directly. The call ended. A dead silence fell inside the car. Finn, Wendy, and Mrs. Zhang sat with their mouths agape, like three petrified statues. A luxury car worth over $2 million had just changed owners in a single phone call. You just robbed him. Finn stammered. Bingo. You got it. Liam snapped his fingers. Robbed it to give to you. You're going to be a boss, running a pharmacy, a real estate agency. You can't be without a decent car. Don't embarrass Liam by telling people you're Liam's brother. Finn's mind went blank. Finn wanted to refuse, but any word seemed pale and powerless. The surprise was too big, too heavy, and too tempting. The car didn't stop at the Cloud Manor complex that Wendy's family had designated. Instead, it pulled up in front of the sales office for Rose Garden, one of the most exclusive school district properties in Chongwon City. The prices here were nearly double that of ordinary complexes. The environment, amenities, and school district were all top tier. Under the enthusiastic guidance of the saleswoman, Finn and Wendy carefully browsed, ultimately choosing the smallest, and therefore cheapest, 149 square meter apartment out of frugality. However, Liam didn't even give Finn and Wendy a chance to hesitate. Liam walked straight to the model of the complex, pointed to the Central King building with the best view. Liam said to the already dumbfounded saleswoman, Building 10, 8th floor, East Unit. The biggest one. We'll take it. Liam. Finn protested. That one is almost 270 square meters. It costs over 4.3 million. We can't live in a place that big. But Liam likes it. Liam grinned. Chloe and I will be visiting Finn and Wendy often. If the house is too small, Liam's Sophie won't have room to run around. The reason was shameless, but filled with an irresistible warmth. After Finn and Wendy signed the papers with trembling hands, Liam took out his bank card and handed it over. Charge it. With the crisp sound of the POS machine, a luxury mansion, and a brand new life were settled. On the way home, a long silence filled the cabin of the Mercedes S-Class. The winter scenery drifted by, but it didn't seem to register with Finn, Wendy, or Mrs. Zheng. Finn, Wendy, and Mrs. Zheng felt as if they were in a grand, illusory dream. Just that morning, Finn, Wendy, and Mrs. Zheng were shrouded in gloom over a $300,000 bride price. By the afternoon, they owned a mansion worth over $4 million and a luxury car worth over $2 million. The source of this transformation was Liam, the man driving, gently swaying to the music. 1,000 words eventually condensed into Finn's hoarse, "Liam, thank you. What did you say?" Liam deliberately turned up the music, the deafening beat drowning out everything. "Good song, huh? It's by Yoon Jujuan, an artist from Liam's company." Finn's eyes instantly reddened, but Finn quickly turned Finn's head away and shouted back, "Awesome. He even made it to the Spring Festival Gala. Liam must be proud." In that moment, the bond between brothers Liam and Finn transcended all words. Some debts of gratitude don't need to be spoken, they just need to be remembered. When Mrs. Zheng enthusiastically invited Liam to stay for dinner, Liam smilingly declined. It was the little new year, and Liam knew that at Liam's own home, a harbor was waiting for Liam. Back at the old house, Liam told Chloe everything that had happened that afternoon. There was no surprise, no reproach. Chloe just smiled gently, as if Liam had done the most ordinary thing in the world. With parents like that, Wendy must be caught in the middle, pleasing no one. If Liam can help, Liam should. However, the storm from the outside world eventually found its way into the warm little courtyard of the Lin family. A call from Hugo Han brought shocking news. Almost simultaneously, Chloe rushed over with her phone, her face filled with anger. "Liam, look at this." On the screen, a short video tag, "Breaking," was going viral. The video had been deliberately edited. Several patients, their faces blurred, showed the camera how, 3 hours after taking the miracle flu drug, they were still running high fevers and coughing violently. The comment section had already been overrun with a flood of doubts and insults, aimed at the newly established reputation of Phoenix Pharmaceuticals. This must be another dirty trick from a competitor. Chloe was so angry Chloe's face flushed red. This time, it's much more complicated than you think. Liam's gaze became incredibly deep and cold. Liam closed the video and calmly uttered a name. Dr. Pei, director of Azure Bay City's Regal Hospital and honorary vice president of the Donglin Province Medical and Health Association. As Chloe stared in shock, Liam unveiled a conspiracy that could shake the entire provincial medical community. The patients in the video are innocent. The drugs they bought were swapped before they even reached the hospital. Dr. Pei used his authority to replace Liam's miracle flu drug shipments to the major hospitals with ordinary cold tablets produced by another company, Huashing Medical. And that's not all. A mocking smile played on Liam's lips. The real mastermind is Trevor Yao of Greenleaf Pharma. Trevor Yao wanted to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Trevor Yao would ruin Phoenix Pharmaceuticals' reputation with fake drugs, and at the same time, make everyone believe that Huashing Medical was responsible, dragging both of his biggest rivals through the mud. Chloe gasped. Chloe couldn't imagine that such a vile, interconnected plot could lie behind a business competition. Chloe looked at Liam worriedly, but Chloe saw no trace of panic on Liam's face. "Don't worry," Liam said, ruffling Chloe's hair, concealing all Liam's sharp edges. With that, Liam took Chloe's hand and led Chloe into the kitchen. Outside, night was falling, and the sound of firecrackers filled the air. Inside, the little New Year's dinner that Felicity had prepared was filled with the rich flavors of memory. Clam soup, braised intestines, stir-fried prawns. The family of 7 sat around the warm, heated brick bed, the light cozy, the laughter endless. Liam and Sophie had a contest to see who could get their face messier with food. In that moment, Liam looked nothing like the calculating business emperor. In the face of a monstrous conspiracy, this humble but warm old house, this home filled with laughter, was Liam's most impregnable harbor. Just then, an unknown number called. It was Zane Lin. Zane Lin invited Liam's family over to Zane Lin's newly renovated house. What awaited them behind that newly finished door?